Hello, Math A students. I am making this video to help you to go through the practice test. So I'm going to show you how to do some questions. For example, if you want to calculate 135, question 1 from your test I upload, right? Question 1. Calculate $135% of 20. So if you want to find the amount percentage of a number, all what you do is multiply that percent with the number. So 135% multiplied with 20 is your answer. And you must know that 135, you have to divide by 100 to get the decimal, then use the decimal number to multiply with 20 and enter it in your calculator, you get the answer. Okay, so that's how you find out the percentage of a certain number or a certain amount. Always using that percentage, multiply with that number. So, for example, number 9, the question asks you what number is 37.5% of 200. So let me show you how to do number 9. So number 9, find out 37.5% of what? 200. So all what you do is convert 37.5% to a decimal by divide by 100. And thus, if you use a calculator, you get the answer of 0.375. You multiply with 200 and you get the answer. So basically to find the percentage of some number, and what you do is multiply them together. And let's find out. 0.375 times with 200. The number is 75. So in your test, there are some choices here. Choice B is the correct answer. So B, circle it, is the correct answer. So that's how you do question. Now I'm not going to have time to go through each of them, all of them. So I just select a typical question. I think it is useful for you in the test. So the next question I'll show you how to solve is number 13. Let's do an easy one first. So number 14 instead of 13. I'm going to show you how to do number 14. So number 14 is say that an MP3 player sells for $397.98. So an item costs $397.98. And the GST tax, it means government sales tax, equal 5%. So the government will take off 5% from this amount so that they can help you with the social service, repair the road for our country, you know. So the government takes some money from that to set aside in case we have a disaster, whatever, the government can help us back. So they call it government sales tax, GST. PST is 7%, they call it provincial sales tax. So the question asks, what is the total cost? So ask what? Total cost. Now, when you solve the word problem, first, you have to read the question at least 3 times, right? Write down the information, what they tell you. Write down in short form. You don't have to write the whole word problems. Just write whatever is necessary. Show the amount, $397.98. Know that this is the purchase or item cost, whatever. Know the GST is 5%, no PST 7%. All of this information is come from your reading. So when you read, make sure you know what they tell you. And I told you on the time, I said that don't overread it. Always read at least 3 times. Write down what they tell you at least in a few things so that it get into your mind about whatever number you should use to solve the problem. And write out the question in short form, ask for total cost. Now, I marked your paper and it turned out a lot of you just assume the question asked without reading it. So if they don't ask for the total sales tax, then don't find out the amount of tax, how much you have to pay for tax. So how do you know that? You assume that they asked for sales tax, then that's not true. You got to read the question. They might ask for total cost, or they might ask only about the total tax you have to pay the government. So it depends on the question, and you have to read it to see it, right? To understand it. If they ask you about total cost, you have to figure out what is the amount of tax you have to pay. What's the amount of tax? And you're not done yet. After this, you have to add back to this amount, add back to it to get the answer to find total cost. But sometimes if you overlook and they don't ask you the total cost, let's say they don't ask you this total cost, they just ask you the sales tax. Then you just have to figure out the amount of tax and you don't need to add back to here. So the problem is you don't read the question and you just assume that, oh, maybe they asked for the total cost or maybe they just asked for sales tax. If you don't read it, how do you know, right? So you have to distinguish that sometimes they ask for total cost. You have to add it back to here to find out the total cost in the cost of your purchase, adding with the cost of the amount here. But if they don't ask you for total cost, they just ask you to find total sales tax, then all what you do is find out the total sales tax, which is you can add these two guys together, 5%, adding with 7%, and total tax you have to pay for the government is treated as a whole thing instead of do separate one by one. There's so many steps. All you do is add both of them together. You got 12%. Find out how much is 12% from this amount by multiply 12% with this, and you get the answer. If they ask, the question asks you about only about the sales tax, right? So you don't know until you check the question and you have to read it carefully. Sometimes they might ask you for the total and the whole thing cost. Sometimes they just ask you the cost of the tax. So you have to answer accordingly, okay? So now let's get back to our question here. They don't ask you for the sales tax. They just ask you the total cost. So you don't even have to figure out what is the amount of tax in here because they don't ask you. They ask you total cost. So work like this. In the percent change, we're talking about in the video before and in the lesson before, you know the 100% is the cost of $397.98. But because you had to pay for the tax in here. So this 100% no longer the amount you have to pay. You have to add into percent of 5% and adding into 7%. So in total, percentage turned out to be 112%. So in one step, you can use the percentage increase to multiply with the amount to get down to one answer right away directly. So find out what is 112% because the percent increasing after you add into 12% here will be no longer 100, which is more than 100, which is 112. So find what is the amount of 112%. And how do you get that? Easy, just use 112% time with, sorry student, my cat. So you time with 100, but get down, not working. 100 and 397, no, 300, sorry. 397.98. So you use the increasing percent of 112 multiplied with this amount, you get right to the answer here, the total cost. So let's find out 112 divided by 100 times with 397.98 cents. And the answer will be 112 divided by 100. Enter, you get 1.12 times with 397.98. You get right to direct answer is $445.74 if you round it up. So the total cost is $445.74. And that is your total cost. Okay, so you see that if you want to answer correctly in the word problem, you have to read the word problem at least 3 times. Write down the important number you know. Write down the question, what the question asks you. Read the question carefully because sometimes they don't ask you to find the tax amount, but they ask you to find the total cost. And instead of find out the tax amount and then add back to here, you can just go directly, do a shortcut, adding 100% with the 12% tax together, it becomes 112%. So the total cost, it represents 112%. It's more than 100% because you're adding 12% of tax in here. So the percentage increasing from 100 to 112% in total. So now using that percent in total, multiply with the amount, which is, I'm doing it here in this box. 112 divided by 100 times with this amount, 397.98 cents. Calculate, you get 445. And you can see, because you're adding the money of tax. So instead of paying only 397, now you have to pay more. You have to pay $445 instead. So that is the government charge you. And if the question don't ask you about the amount of tax, you don't have to. You don't have to find the amount of tax. All what you do is add the percentage in here, 12% with 100 full percent rise, and then find out directly to answer the question. So in this question, the choice will be, let's look at it, number was number 14. Okay, number 14. So you can see choice A is 445.74, exactly. So choice A is the answer in here, okay? So I help you with 1 or 2 questions. The rest, you should practice yourself and try to practice the whole. This page is more important. I want you to do this page rather than this page. Okay, so there is another number 13 I want to help you to find out as well. So let's do one more problem here, number 13. So this is number 14, okay? Now I'm going to show you how we do number 13 from your practice test. So let's read the question. Number 13. A model car with a mass of 70 kilograms is 10% of the mass of the real car. What is the mass of the real car? I read the question the first time. No, I'm going to read the second time, okay? A model car with a mass of 70 kilograms is 10% of the mass of the real car. What is the mass of real car? Now, of course, the mass of real car is a lot more heavier than the model car. So the selling car company, they want to perform the show, to show off to the customer. They make a model for their car, and then to attract the customer, and the customer look at the model of the car and say, oh, this car look good, look great. And they start like getting into the business and buy it. And that's why they advertise for, and they make a model of a sample of the car. So a model car is not a real car, so therefore the model car is a lot less heavy weight, right? So the model have a mass, has a mass, a model car, okay, have a mass of 70 kilograms. Write out the information, okay? And then this 70 kilogram is represent, put the arrow, represent 10%. So the question asks, so what is the mass of a real car? The question asks you this, what is the mass of a real car? If the mass of the model car only 70 kilograms, what's the mass of real car? Now you must know that if this is only 10% of a real car, then of course the percentage of the real car will be 100% mass. So 10% mass is 70 kilograms. So what is 100% mass will be? To solve this problem, you will have to find out what is the mass of 1%, and then multiply with 100 to get the mass of 100%, right? Now, you also can set up this as a ratio problem, but which is, we haven't learned this ratio problem, solving ratio problem. So we're gonna find out what is the mass of 1%. And remember, 1% here treated as the name of something, right? Like the mass of a candy or whatever. Just 1% is the name of it. It's not about the amount, but it's just about the name of 1%. So to find out the mass of 1%, all what you do is you mass 70 kilogram divided by 10%. So 70 kilogram divided by 10, right? That will give you a mass of 1%. Cancel 0, cancel 0. 7 kilogram. So the mass of 1% is 7 kilogram. 7 kilogram. And you want to find 100%, which is more than that. So you multiply 7 kilogram times with 100. You get 700 kilogram is the mass of real car. So the mass of 100% is 700 kilogram. And that is the answer A. So the choice A is a letter you should circle in this paper. Okay, so I hope that I'm going to end the video here, and I hope that you do well for your test. I try my best. If you still have a question and you still don't understand, please go on Zoom, ask Mr. Dano or me by schedule me ahead in advance. One day, at least one day in advance, email me, because I'm busy making a lesson and test and unit for all classes. I'm not going to have time to answer you right away. If you should text me right away, I might be in the meeting or doing something else. So you got to, if you want me to help you on Zoom, you got to schedule in advance, at least one day in advance. Good luck for your learning online, and I hope you enjoy. The advantage of this is you can see it you can see it right away directly without the distraction of student talking in the classroom. So you can watch my video without the distraction, and you can get focused, try to get focused and read on of the information of whatever I wrote it here on the board, right? If the first time you don't understand, you rewind the video and listen and watch again the second time, and you still don't get it, rewind again, and then try to practice on of this question from this page, as many as you can. Practice, make perfect for the test. Okay, so have a good week, student. Bye for now.